Hi, it's Lynn, your adulting coach. Pearl wrote in to tell me that her biggest struggle was with communication. Her daughter used to talk but stopped about 8 years ago. So let's see what we can offer Pearl, um, that might help. We want to start first with helping her help her daughter make good decisions. This is that responsive discipline that helps make helps make our life more in line with who we are and what we want, and who we want to be. So the first thing we both have to do, it's a two-way street. We have to accept the fact that she inherited through the genetic lottery an autistic brain that is hyper alert in fear. And she may just have some genetic wiring that makes it really hard for her to produce words. So she's got the input, she's figured out the processing in the middle, but it's the output that's hard for her. And accepting those facts, those traits that are never going to change, is so important for us. We know that anywhere between 3 and, 10% of people have neurodiverse brains, at least. And so let's just keep in mind that she is typical of the people who have an autistic brain. These difficulties, these patterns of difficulties are similar. And so once we accept that, we realize that there are so many ways to live a good life, and her life is still going to be good, even if it's hard for her to communicate, to speak. So that's the first thing that we have to accept so that we can understand what we can and cannot control. For her, for the daughter, I'm thinking that there's probably some fear going on, some shame, some doubt happening. I'm not good enough. My life isn't going the way it should. Those types of thoughts we need to notice so that she can evolve from those. She can just wiggle them a little bit to say, I can't talk, and that's okay. When we can get her to a centered, okay place, she'll be more likely to be willing to feel that fear that in the shame and whatever the feelings are, and do what's important to her anyway. And the emphasis is on what's important to her. We need to figure out what that is, because we need to cultivate the belief that we can make a difference, that every little step we'll take adds up. And when we look at our current thoughts about belief, sometimes we see them producing, it's impossible. We need to move to, it's possible, and then it's inevitable. And that just comes from watching those thoughts, watching our brains offer us the automatic thoughts that come up so much in a pattern that we've used over our whole life, that we just want to notice what's going on. What is that thought? Where did that come from? Just to notice where the belief is. And for the daughter, for her daughter, what does she believe? Do we even know? Is there a way to find out? Could she use a communications device, text, an iPad, whatever kind of tablet? Isn't there some way we can help her tell us about the thoughts that are circulating in her head? I just really hope you can find a way to uncover what's causing that belief that is driving the emotion of fear or shame or doubt, and whether or not those can be looked at, interrupted, so that we can wiggle them a little bit. Because when we really do listen to each other, we can create that strong bond, that strong connection that helps us with these struggles. Life is painful. It's uncertain. And we know we're going to have to do a lot to get what we want. No one's going to hand it to us, and there's nobody coming that's going to rescue us. We have to figure this out ourselves. And so when we connect with one another, we share what we're thinking, and we hope that they will share what they're thinking as well. It's just so good to know what's going on in the other person's brain. And we won't know a lot because there's so many more thoughts than there is time to share them. We get somewhere between 60 and 70,000 a day. If we're just getting a sample of 2 or 3, I mean, it's better than nothing, but just know that there's a lot going on in there that doesn't always get shared by any of us. I mean, it's perfectly okay that we don't share all those 60,000 thoughts. It'd be a lot. But it sure would be good if they'd share a few, just especially the ones that are sticky, that are bothersome. And then let's structure our time so that more gets done that matters. So when we anchor in what matters most to us and how we're going to create our days so that we can produce the outcomes that are aligned, in alignment with what we want. That's what the structural discipline is going to bring for us. That's the payoff. So if we ask, if we look at how is the evening routine, because that always feeds the morning routine, and then what are the 3 things that she's going to get done in any given day? It's walk the dog, it's I don't know what it is, but what are 3 things that she wants to do every day that are going to help her move her life forward? And one of the best ways to do that is to ask her, in 5 years, in 3 to 5 years, where do you want to be? What do you want to be thinking, feeling, and doing? When we can figure that out, then we can help them structure those 3 things that they need to do every day. So what's the picture that she has in her head of how life's going to be in 3 to 5 years? I mean, it doesn't have to be, major steps from where she is. It can just be a little bit of a step toward where she is. But all of us, all human beings, want to progress. It's just built in. And what gets in the way sometimes are the way that we think, creating fear or overwhelm or confusion or all those emotions that really block our forward progress, that keep us stuck. So when we've identified those thoughts that are creating the fear, we really do what we can to help our kids feel that emotion. Now that's counterintuitive. We have been told, and the way that we raised our kids was if they were having a hard time, we were to distract them. So we would come up with something else, fun to do, or something to eat, or some activity that would distract them from the way that they were feeling. Instead, now that they're adults, I suggest strongly that we teach them how to feel the feeling. And feelings come from our thoughts. It's a miracle, but our thought tells our brain which chemical to produce that causes a vibration in our body. And so if we slow down and listen inside and really picture what is going on in there. If it's fear, for me, it's just a ball of blue lightning that just sends sparks out. It is not a comfortable feeling. But I now know what it is. The other feeling I know really well is an urge, because, chocolate. So an urge feels like a pulsing hourglass, blue hourglass in my body. Why is everything blue? Anyway, maybe because I just want to eat that thing. I just want to have those chocolate drops or the chocolate cake or the whatever it is that's out there. Those feelings are so important for us to notice and feel and identify. And that's not always easy for our kids, because in particular, sometimes the way that their brain is wired, that interoception, that ability to feel what's going on inside, is different from what someone without an autistic brain would be experiencing. But we have encouraged them not to feel because it makes us uncomfortable when they have a strong emotion. And so here's what we want to do. We really want to help them identify what those thoughts are producing that emotion, and go ahead and feel and name that emotion. It does not have to be poetic. It can be happy, glad, happy, sad, mad. Happy, sad, mad. Let's just do happy, sad, mad. Frustrated is one that comes up in my household a lot. Overwhelmed is another one. Let's see if we can give them a little bit, expand their emotional vocabulary just enough so that we know where they are, what's the vibration that's happening inside of their body. And then maybe we can wiggle it to an emotion that inspires the kind of action that they want to take so that they show up as the person that they want to be, that they are making steps toward that future that they can envision, that they know is important to them, and just right size that action to the smallest possible next step that they are confident they can try. It's not up to us because we don't know what's going on. We don't know whether or not they're going to be confident with that particular action. They know. So let's make sure it's something that they have decided on. It's an important enough to them, and it's the right size. That's how we're going to get the action. And then we have to partner by really connecting on how things went, what went well, and what could we improve? What did we learn? What can we, it's just a mistake. We just need to keep trying to figure out what works for them. So I hope this is helpful. I know that we would all love to wave a magic wand and make some of these struggles disappear, but if we can step back and recognize that in fact they are gifts, they help us evolve. I know that I have evolved as a parent so much with my kids, and it's made me a better person overall. And we know that our kids are going to evolve because someday they are going to be on their own. Some of these struggles aren't going to be optional for them, and we need to level up their independence step by step now so that they have plenty of time to practice these independence skills while we're here to give them all the encouragement and warnings and collaborative support they need. So please join me inside The Art of Adulting. I would really love to help you with each of these practices. Bye for now.